Hello and welcome to What Mandy Made Next, a crafting podcast that involves fibres and threads. Today is Tuesday, the 24th of May 2022, and I've got my cup of coffee ready, and if you're ready, we'll begin. As you may recall, I'm currently working on the Tilly Table Runner pattern by Lauren from Molly and Mammy. So I'm no English paper piecer. So joining this Pretty Stitches club has learned me loads of new skills. So here I am piecing the last two jewels to go into the hexagon flower. I'm using a thread YLI. It's a hand quilting thread, 40 weight, and it's 3 ply. So, as suggested by Lauren from Molly and Mama, I'm using milliner's straw needles, the size 10. It's got a big eye apparently, and they're meant to be flexible and warp resistant, and they run smoothly through the fabric. And I must admit, I have done a little bit of paper piecing before, not on this scale, and I'm finding it a lot easier using these needles. So there we are, ready to sew now to the flower. I'm using here a Tilda fabric. It's from the Meadows Basic range, and this lovely pink. So yeah, that's my flower finish now. The centre is embroidered. I've used linen from a charity shop and the suggested designs by Lauren. So she gives you an embroidery guide, and I'm quite pleased with the final result. So I'm just going to give the flower a quick press, and then I shall take out the paper pieces. Purchased all the templates for the paper piecing from an online shop in the UK. It's called Sew and Quilt. So I've used actually a Sewline fabric glue pen. I also purchased that from Sew and Quilt. It's the first time I've ever glued the paper piecing to fabric. Before I have basted, and I don't know if I'd go back to basting, to be honest. I found the glue pen quick, but more difficult to remove from the fabric. I've used the satin stitch on the flowers in this centre, which wasn't suggested by Lauren. The reason I've used a satin stitch is because the hot iron transfer pen was showing through on the linen, so I had to hide it with the stitches. It wouldn't wash out. So I used tracing paper and this pen to transfer the design onto the linen, you see. And I didn't realise you could get a fine tip. I used a medium one. And this is the other flower I've made. This has got a different design, embroidery design in the centre, and I've used this blue Moda fabric. Sorry, I don't know what range that's from. But there we go. All flowers are now made. So I've got to choose the fabric now to apply the flowers to. This is one Lauren has used. It's called Rose and Violet's Garden by Riley Blake Design, and I think it's in the parchment colourway. Quite like that, I think it goes nice. And then I've also purchased this one, and again this is a Riley Blake from the same range, Rose and Violet's Garden. But I really do love this design, but I think the dots look better. I can use this fabric for a project bag. It reminds me of an old English design, and I think that would look lovely for a project bag for knitting. So I've decided I am going to definitely go with the dots. I believe this is the parchment colourway, and I bought both fabrics from the shop Sew and Quilt. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with this one. And then to edge the runner, I've chose this blue floral fabric. It'll be a Moda, but I'm not quite sure what the range is called. I've pulled this from my stash. So I'm quite pleased with those colour choices. I'm hopeful I've got enough of this fabric. So progress has been a little bit slow. There's been a couple of reasons for that. One, I'm not used to English paper piecing, and two, I went to a concert a couple of weeks ago. Spring Blessings from Lila's Studios, and this is from the Seasons 2. I also made this summer one last year, but instead of mounting them on boards, I made little pillow, and this is what I intend to do with the spring one, which is now complete. So I'll pop it on my board and show you that.
really happy with this one. Threads are not all called for. I've got them from my stash to use them up. So some are called for threads, some aren't. I've stitched this on a 32 count Belfast linen. So yeah, I've just overlocked around the edges and I shall be making that into a pillow. Although we're nearly in summer. Oh well. Also on a Tuesday, I've been devoting my time to In the Day of a Life of. This is worked on a 14 count Ada. I think it may be in the oatmeal colour range, and it's a kit I purchased from Love Crafts. Please excuse the creases. I've just pulled this from my hoop. But you may remember last time I spoke to you, I was working, or I've just completed the April showers. I've now completed the May square. So I'm actually on track with this because I was hoping to complete a square every month. So now I'll be working on the June one. That means there's room now for a new cross-stitch project. So I'm going to have a look through my stash of patterns and decide on what I'm going to make.
So I have managed now to knit the heel flap and turn the heel, thanks to Emily from Meanwhile at the Castle. And yeah, I'll explain a little bit more. This is a West Yorkshire Spinners sock yarn, 75% wool, 25% nylon. It's a signature 4-ply, and it was from the Florist collection. And this particular shade was called English Rose, but I believe they're not making this one anymore. So this was a free pattern from West Yorkshire Spinners when I bought this candy cane yarn it's a few years ago now. But as you can see, this is a slip stitch eel, and I usually knit my socks toe up using a vanilla sock pattern incorporating a Fleagle eel. So I wanted to start to learn how to knit socks cuff down instead of toe up, you see. So I thought I would use this pattern, and with Emily Clawson's help, watching her YouTube, I have managed now to actually turn the heel. So I'll show you a little bit more in detail. So the pattern instructs you to cast on your stitches using a 3mm needle, which I did, but I should have then gone to 2.5s and I didn't. I carried on the 3mm. I don't know why, and so I've ended up with rather a puffy looking rib. Bit of a hot mess really, but never mind. And then I was knitting these on magic loop, and as you can see I've got a ladder. I don't usually have such a bad ladder, but I haven't knit socks for a while, so maybe I'm just a bit out of practice. So I tried it where I was rejoining the round at different stages, but that's made a bit of a hot mess, as you can see, with those stitches there. So yeah, I decided then I would go back to using DPNs. So I did swap out to my double pointed needles. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with the heel. I think if I did this again, I would carry on using the slip stitch on the lower part of the heel. But yeah, quite pleased for my first attempt. So Like I say, I've resorted back to my 2.5 millimeters bamboo double pointed needles, and these are by Higher. I will say, because they're only 2.5 and they're smaller in diameter, they're not as sturdy as a thicker needle, say a 4mm. So I'm a little bit worried in case I snap them. So I might invest in some carbons. But yeah, I definitely think these are far better to knit socks on. So we'll see how we go. I don't think I've got far to go, and I'll start shaping the toe.
So Thursday is my Mickey's coffee, and it's living quite amicably in this coffee bag. Well, should I say a project bag inspired by cups of coffee. So this fabric is called Coffee House by Clothworks, and I bought this fabric from Liberty Bell. So I'll pop a link in down to the Liberty Bell shop, which is an online shop in the UK, if you want to get some. So yeah, love it. I made it quite big so it would fit my frame. So it's a little bit bigger than usual, and as you can see, it's got all the cups of coffee on. I've just added a little charm. Don't know what it's meant to be, but I thought, well, it looks a bit like a coffee bean, or unfortunately it's red. Inside I've lined it with this fabric here, and it's got all sort of coffee related words on it, and again, this is from the Coffee House range by Clothworks. So it's got Americano, cappuccino, espresso, aroma. I'll show you in a little bit more detail, but there are no seams showing on this. So let's show you the project. Talking away, I'm showing you the project, which is still in its frame. So I'll take it out of the frame. Last time I spoke to you, I was here, and now I am, let's make sure this is the right way up, here. So yeah, I feel I've got quite a bit done. I would say I'm more than, I would say 75% easy through this now, if not more, maybe 80. I think I've only got another 2 pages, 2 and a bit, and this bit here, and this will be finished, and I think I'm aiming now for end of July, early August. I love stitching on this. I stitch on it every morning. It's my morning stitch, and late at night. If I go to bed early, instead of reading a book, I stitch on this. I love it. Just pop a podcast on and sit there stitching. It is heaven. Love this project. On a Friday, this is when I tend to sew garments, whether they're for myself or for someone else. And I've already uploaded for last Friday a Friday sews. I'll pop a card up to that particular vlog. Saturday is my what I call Scrappy Saturday, and again I have joined a block of the month subscription, and it's at Liberty Bell. So once a month we go on a Saturday and work on a quilt, and we've been working on a stitch along called Riverside Knoll by Kim DL, and it's from a new fabric range that she's designed called Writer's Rain, and the cloth manufacturer is Henry Glass. So I made 4 blocks. So this is one of them. The fabrics are beautiful. I'll bring them up a little bit closer, and I'll also take some photographs so you can see them. I'll show you another block, because you do, 2 of them are like where they're coming down. Actually, I think the 4, and then the other 4 is where these strips will be down here. But they are different. So now I did go ahead and cut my cream fabric out, but I just wish now that I'd thought more about using the different cream fabrics, but I'm quite pleased with these blocks, and I've taken extra care to make sure that my seam allowances are accurate. So I've made 4 of these and I've got 4 more to make, and I'm still behind on some of the other blocks, so that's why I'm not adding any extra projects into my rotation once a project is completed, because I want to get some of these projects now completed and under my belt. On social media, I'm on Instagram as What Mandy Made Next. If you haven't already, please subscribe, give the video a like, and yeah, I'll see you next time, which hopefully will be next week for my Friday sews. So until then, happy crafting.